The truth is often found by the telling of the story. When we carefully look at the linkage of one event to other events, we begin to understand the truth. Indeed, the truth, and nothing but the whole truth, is never found as an isolated event. It is when we tie many events together that a picture of the whole truth comes to view. For example, Jesus, the master teacher, understood the power of a story when he taught parables. In his stories, he would bring together a series of events that would bring light on the whole truth. For example, Jesus answered a very important question by the telling of a story of a certain man who was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him and went away, leaving him half dead. The story continued. There were 3 people who passed by the half-dead man who was on the side of the road, a priest, a Levite, and a Samaritan. These 4 people on the same day traveled on the same road from Jerusalem to Jericho. All 4 had a story to tell before getting to Jericho. Only 2 had really important roles. The first person was a half-dead man. The second person became the hero when he had compassion for the half-dead man. Only from all of the elements do we get the answer to the central important question of who is my neighbor. And so it is, the whole truth becomes clear when we see how all the parts fit together. Let's take this framework of storytelling and apply it to the first-hand account that Alma gave to us in the 2nd chapter of his book. There are many elements in the account. Each element is important, but any one element by itself will not reveal the whole truth. It is the storyline and the linkages of the actual events to the hills, valleys, rocks, and water from the lay of the land that the whole truth of the story comes out. Amlicites lost his bid to become king in a national election. He was disappointed in the result. He decided to organize an army of men who would fight for him. At an act of war, the Amlicites took control of the Nephite fortification on Hill Amnihu. Alma was the chief judge on the west side of the River Sidon in Zarahemla. Alma understood that Amlicites intend to take control of the government by taking the capital city of Zarahemla. This is where the story began. The timeline and the terrain were so critical to the story. The story has only 36 hours for 2 battles and the movements of 3 armies. Within the limits of this time, the Battle of Zarahemla took place in a space of 8 miles by 8 miles. There are at least 8 distinct elements in the story. 1. The morning of the first day where the battle began on the hill Amnihu. 2. The continuation of the fighting on the first day into the valley of Gideon. 3. The Nephite army pitching their tents on the first night on the east bank of the River Sidon. 4. The Amlicite army walked across the River Sidon on the evening of the first day. 5. Alma sending of 4 spies on the night of the first day to determine the intention of the retreating Amlicites. 6. On the morning of the second day the Lamanite army joined the Amlicite army on the west bank of the River Sidon, where they prepared to fight the Nephite army in the water and on the land. 7. The fighting of the Nephite, Amlicite and Lamanite armies in the water and on the land. And 8. The retreat of the Amlicite and Lamanite armies into the northwest towards the wilderness of Hermounts. The whole integration of all these elements into 64 square miles and 36 hours is where we can discover the geographical key that opens the door to the physical truth of the Book of Mormon. This is the story that is the focus of the expedition that will begin in the first week of August in 2020. During the first week of August, there will be more than 20 professionals who are gathering at that place where Alma's army during harvest time in 87 BC fought in the water and on the land against the armies of the Amlicites and Lamanites on the west bank of the River Sidon. It has taken more than 6 months to organize this expedition. Let us make an outline of what is involved. We have permission to do this search from the Rock Island District of the United States Army Corps of Engineers. We have a 32-foot pontoon boat that is equipped with the latest sonar equipment. There will be a Mississippi riverboat captain who has decades of experience with sonar scanning of the river. We will have the advantage of Robert E. Lee's 1837 survey that shows the limestone horizontal ledge that forms the walkway for crossing the river. We will have the services of an engineer who has 40 years of experience in blasting rock and moving silt to control the flow of the river under permits that were issued by the Corps of Engineers. There will be 2 underwater divers who have experience in exploring archaeological sites. They will have all the necessary diving equipment, including lights and cameras. We know of no other research on the ground and in the water that is so directly connected to an event that is recorded in the Book of Mormon. Under normal circumstances, this search would be very expensive. We are grateful for the faithful people who have supported us. We recognize that many are generally indifferent to our research. Despite this attitude, we wish to cordially invite all to come to witness the activities that are associated with our search. No one would have to make any preparations, anyone can come only as a silent observer. Of course, everyone is completely free to form his opinions about what we are doing. Ultimately, we are all truth seekers. If what we do is not true, then we pray that God will hedge up the way and close down our project. If, on the other hand, it is true, there will be no one who can prevent us from going forward as we seek to unveil the great city of Zarahemla. We are determined to bring the same German technology that we used in Ohio to the cornfields on the west side of the River Sidon. Get ready for a great adventure. Gather at the river and see truth springing out of the ground and the water. The physical truth shall confirm that the Battle of Zarahemla at harvest time in 87 BC occurred in the place that God revealed to Joseph Smith. The truth of the story in Alma, chapter 2, shall be established by the integration of all the elements found in that text that comes to us by the gift and power of God. Support us as we do this great work by donating as little as $10 at www.zarahemla.site.